Hi, this is Dr. Scott, and today I found a video. Actually, I found a video a few days ago. Um, there was a clip of a video with the El Salvador president, Bukele. Forgive me if I say that incorrectly. I don't have any Spanish, so forgive me if I said that incorrectly. But this El Salvador president, there was this clip, and it's about the IRS, and we will show that on the second part of this. But I had to go search it out. this 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 big sucker is from the PAC, which is the basically conservative conference that happens every year, and so I think it's in February, March. Um, but it's in 2024, so this thing is like almost more than a year old, so 13 months old or something like that. And I'm like, wait a second. And I started to pick this thing out, and I'm looking at it, and I'll show you as we go along the banners throughout here. But it's like that's got GESARA written all over it. And on top of this, and I asked a friend of mine, a couple of friends of mine actually, but one specifically, is this guy a believer in Christ? I'm like, yeah, he is. And there's some fascinating things that's happening in El Salvador. I mean, El Salvador, most of us understand this South American country has been a whole. I'm not going to say the ugly word that other people would say, for a very long time. It has some of the really ugliest prisons, and I mean mean prisons. They have gone there, and those prisons for the MS-13 gang, this is the hub of the MS-13 gangs, and just one, at least one of those areas. And he talks a little bit about this, but these gang members, if they're in some of these prisons, they wear very little in there. It's obviously warm enough, and they got basically nothing in those areas. But every single one of them are murderers, so you can't feel very sorry for them in this way. And that's me speaking. You can feel whatever you want to feel about that. But he's speaking at this thing a year, 13 months ago, and I'm like, whoa. So check this stuff out, okay? And we'll pause here and there as we go.
But it's already happening. You don't see it as clearly because people are designed to see linear changes, not exponential ones. We don't always recognize how fast a problem can multiply and spiral out of control. The problem is much like the metaphor of the boiling frog. Once the water boils, it's already too late. People fail to see these things. It's our nature. Just like the frog, people become complacent, and they don't realize how bad things are getting until it's too late. Thank God.
Now, he moves on to this another conversation here. He talks about the gang wars. He jumps in when I didn't cut this perfectly, but basically he talks a little bit about Soros. So when you're seeing some of this, you're going, who is that? Soros is who he's talking about. I'm sorry about that.
Thank God, and all the glory be to him. Salvadorans are now immune to his influence.
Soros.
No one believes his lies anymore over there. It's troubling to see that this is happening everywhere. Not only in El Salvador and the United States, it's happening everywhere. But even here, in the United States, in the most powerful country in the world, even here, it's happening. America should listen to these words, not because the El Salvador model should be replicated here, but because these specific examples apply to any nation that has lost or is losing its way. The war that was coming, the gang war. After 1 million people fled the first war, a lot of them came to live in ghettos here in the United States, where the gangs were formed. when former President Clinton deported a lot of those gang members without telling us they were gang members, they were criminals. They roamed free and recruited young people, thousands of young Salvadorans, to join the gangs. At first, they seemed like petty criminals, but they began to change and transform until they became the unscrupulous terrorists that we know today.
Now think about that for a second. These terrorists come in, they come into America, they do their thing. Clinton pushes them back. And you go, wait a second, I thought Clinton kept those guys in. No, he turned them, sent them back in, probably by the three-letter agencies, sent them back to El Salvador, and creates new gangs, creates a new generation. That new generation comes to America and does their thing. This is their long-term plan with that kind of thing.
Unprecedented in the history and modern democracies in the world. They also gave us a supermajority in Congress, more than that. 54 seats out of 60. "57 if we count our allies. That's 95% of Congress.
Now think about that for a second. Did we ever hear any of that from our fake media? And the answer is you know the answer to that. The fake media never told us about the 84% that he won, as well as what, the 95% that they have in their Congress. And that is the reality. And there's a really fun meme going around that the Democrats have 20% popularity response, and yet they have a slim lead in both the Congress and in the Senate. And you're going, no, they don't. It's because we don't have free and fair elections. And yet they're occurring here. This is the evidence of GESARA coming on. Let's listen a little more.
Let that also sink in. The people of El Salvador have woken up, and so can you. Unelected bureaucrats are trying to instate public policy. Who elected them? They don't have a democratic mandate. If they want a seat in the table, they should run for office.
Think about what he's saying. This is way before Doge. None of us had any idea about Doge. Now, we were hoping that Doge type thing would make a difference and happen. I get it. But yet, he's talking about Doge before Doge occurred. And yet, now that Doge is occurring, he's talking about unelected bureaucrats. And if they wanted a seat at the table, they should have run. And yet, we all know what the answer would be there, right?
Let the people vote. It will not be a pretty sight for them if the elections are free and fair. I mean, who elected Soros to dictate public policy and laws? Why does he feel entitled to impose his agenda? Let me tell you something. Soros and his cronies hit a brick wall in El Salvador.
Here he moves on to a really cool area on the judicial system with that too. So watch this one.
Which is more important than the institution itself. When the judicial system was created, it was created out of the necessity to bring justice. But now it seems like survival and control of the judges, of the AGs, among others, are paramount. And the need to bring justice is merely a little more than an afterthought. Another example, the police was created to bring law and order. Let them seek law and order then. But now some of them are even afraid to do their job because they fear the consequences for doing it.
Think about what he's saying there. We are seeing the evidence of that right now. We've been seeing that since 2020, but frankly, we've been seeing that for generations. But the slow burn has been strongly coming up. It's like we've been fanning the flames very heavily since 2020 and trying to get people to fully wake up and smell the embers burning around us, okay? The judicial system has allowed this sickness to come in, and we have this. And by the way, we have ICE judges who have allowed people to get through systems, and they're starting to take them down. And he's predicting this 13 months ago.
They should be encouraged to fulfill their foundational roles without fear of repercussions that distract them from their missions. If the police was created to bring law and order, let them bring law and order. Our society, we arrested the terrorists, but we have to remove corrupt judges and corrupt attorneys and prosecutors.
Guys, this is literally out of the playbook that I have talked about for 5 years now of the GESARA thing. In the first part of what Trump was trying to accomplish is that he was talking about in this 2017 through 2020, all the way through 2021, he was telling the nations, you need to be a part of this. And El Salvador is telling you what they did. This is GESARA in motion.
Thank you. Thank you. Thank you. These corrupt judges and prosecutors were setting the gang members free. And it wasn't just the gangs. The corrupt system worked in tandem with the so-called international community, the NGOs, and of course the fake news, just like it happens here in the United States. The global elites, they hate our success, and they fear yours.
You see, he rounds this off in the media. And this is, again, 13 months ago. The media has to be out of the way. This is part of the GESARA thing. That's why they keep saying fake news, fake news, fake news. And once people say, they start deleting it out of their life, then that can be deleted out of the systems, forcibly deleted out of the systems, because the military says, no more fake news, no more are you allowed to do this. Watch this.
The people's free will to choose their leaders is something they despise because they cannot control that. You have experienced this firsthand here in the United States. The global elites control the mainstream media. They finance campaigns, district attorneys, to mention a few. They abuse their powers. They persecute political opponents. In El Salvador, we don't weaponize our judicial system to persecute our political opponents. A practice that may sound familiar to you, but we don't do that there.
And see, as we wrap up where we are today, do you see what they've done? But have we ever heard anything about that? It's because our fake news media won't tell you the truth. We can't get anyone to share what's really happening. And yet we have the president of El Salvador who's telling you the actual facts. These are the GESARA things. If you are right now feeling um, discouraged, this is the encouragement that the world is coming around. This is a worldwide issue that takes time for it to move forward. Guys, be calm. I understand it's frustrating, but be calm because it's coming. And when the pain hits, it is going to wipe through all of the systems and the idiots, and you're going to see the treason, and it is going to be brutal. And then what happens, those people who leaned upon the concepts of the greed and the other things that they wanted to do are going to be, whoa, wait a second, we don't want to do that anymore. And yet, some of them who pushed agendas when they didn't do anything really fully illegal, but they pushed agendas, they're going to get pushed back on so hard that many of them are just going to go into a corner. I have seen this over and over again in my prayer life. They're going to walk into a corner and they're going to walk away. And see, these could be big NGOs who just whoop, they're gone. They could be big companies. Whoosh, their top boards are washed out, and then frankly the company just is no more. We're going to see a lot of changes that are going to be wonderful as we see GESARA come along here. And you've seen so many people tell you GESARA is a lie, it's fake, and the reality is you don't understand a couple things. It talks about a gold-backed currency. Why do you see gold in the background? It's about gold-backed currency. It's because we cannot continue the way we are. It talks about the level of deleting the IRS. And then thirdly, we have to eliminate this corrupt system. And we have to have the people having the power again. And we're going to do another part of this on our second portion of this situation. Thanks so much for listening.